Then I saw a question about depth of the soils that of the samples. Usually the depth of the sample is about 15 to 20 centimeters because most of the crops that we grow, their roots, they don't go beyond 20 centimeters. But if you are going to be doing citrus fruits like those oranges, lemons, and all the soil sample has to be about 1 meter deep because you need to do soil profile to see available nutrients in each and every profile, because as your roots grow for your citrus fruits, they'll be taking nutrients from those various soil samples.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Muchuwa, for the presentation on soil analysis. I think we're going to be moving on to the next presentation. And our next presenter is Mr. Shawa, who is a regional agronomist from Indaba Training, who's going to speak to us on seeds and production. Over to you, Mr. Shawa.
Thank you. I'm from Indaba Trading, which is into integrated crop solution. We're also the major distributor of Syngenta Agro Services. We sell all the Syngenta products from maize, tomatoes, cabbages, horticulture, in horticultural products, as well as maize products. So far, we have got a new product that I need to briefly talk about called SY 5944, which is early maturity but high yielding up to 13, 14 tons per hectare. And also Syngenta is also helping farmers in the management of farming operations using digital tools. The one and most important digital tool that I want to talk about today is called the Field Focus. It's a farm management software that uses remote sensing technology and also client-specific crop and variety information to give farmers recommendation and alerts that help to improve and reduce problems most times. We know farmers usually management is a big issue to them. Sometimes they'll need to look for chemicals once they've got the problem already, which becomes a challenge. So this software helps farmers to manage their operations, to monitor their operations, and actually respond to problems in real time. How this software works, or the benefits from this software, it enables online digitalization of the fields. The farmer can go to the field, capture all the points on the field, and the digital platform will use satellite imagery and remote sensing technology that when a farmer, if you're in Harare and want to manage your farm in Mazoe, you can actually see in your farm where there have been some pest invasions. Let's say there is a tuta absoluta in your tomato which is just invaded. You can actually see the area in your farm where this pest is, and you are able to respond in real time. So this software is actually going to help to improve productivity through efficient management of farm operations. The other thing is, like I said, the monitoring of crop health, which is done through the satellite imagery, where you get some images in a field of where the crop is, let's say, lacking some nutrients or there's some pest infestation. It also helps you to undertake some comparative analytics across your fields. Let's say you want to compare crop health depending on soil conditions. It can also give you those updates so that the farmer is quite aware of what is happening on the farm. It also gives you easy access to weather conditions and also soil conditions. It uses local information, local data on a farm, as we know, so much information is generated at the farm. So farmers are having difficulties in analyzing that data which is generated at the farm. So this field focus is there to do the analytics for the farmer. The farmer will know which block will always perhaps give the high yields for him, so he will be able to maximize on yields on that block. Which block is always giving some problems. Perhaps it's because of terrain, or perhaps it's because of soil, soil pH, like what has been discussed by my brother. So the farmer will be able to do the right decisions based, informed from this field focus software. So we really urge farmers to go digital and take up these digital tools which are coming to bring efficiency in management of farm operations. Then it also gives you instant online access to satellite imagery for field scouting and alerts about field conditions. Let's say there is waterlogging or you need to scout, it can even do it for you from a distance, from a distance. Let's say you are not at the farm, you are in South Africa, or you've gone somewhere away from the farm, you are able to view what's happening at the farm, you are able to do pest scouting using the same tool. Then it also has got a calendar function that helps you to actually monitor real activities which are being planned, let's say in your country. We know there are so many actual activities which are being done. So with this calendar function, it enables the farmers to be ready to attend all those functions. It also has got an online notebook where the farmers can actually take down some notes and make sure that the record keeping is quite handy, it's convenient for him, and in all the information will be around. So for now, the digital tool that I can talk about, that's the field focus, is all that it can do the management of the farm operations, which farmers can take advantage of. Small scale farmers, they can also take advantage of this, provided they've actually grown some high value crops, because every farmer so far, I don't want to call them small scale farmers, because on a small plot of land, they can grow high value crops which need to be monitored, and they contribute very much to the economy of the country. So farmers should take this digital tool for their advantage. Thank you so much for this presentation. Perhaps I can take some questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Shah, for the wonderful presentation. I'm going to leave the floor open for any questions. If there are any questions, you can just type in your questions and you can ask.
Seems there is no question.
Okay. Seeing that there are no questions, probably we're going to have to move to the next presentation. Thank you so much, Mr. Shah, for the presentation on seed and production. We're going to move on to Mr. Masocha, who is a representative of AgriBank and is going to speak to us about agri-finance. Over to you, Mr. Masocha.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the invitation. I think the coordinator has alluded, I'm Washington Masocha from the Agricultural Bank of Zimbabwe. The AgriBank is a commercial bank, a fully fledged commercial bank, all owned by government, 50% Ministry of Agriculture, 50% Ministry of Finance. Maybe to confirm, are you hearing me clearly? Hello?
Yes, we do. We do hear you.
Okay, thank you. As I was saying, we are wholly owned by the government, and we are a fully fledged commercial bank, but our core mandate is to finance and develop agriculture as the backbone of the economy of Zimbabwe. As Agribank, we also administer some facilities from the government, which are actually made available to clients to develop their agricultural activities. I think recently or now we are doing productive sector funding, where we are primarily looking at primary agriculture, agro-processing, manufacturing, and mining. That facility is there at a 15% interest rate, a maximum of 270 days is the loan tenure, and it's also renewable. Anyone who is actually in the productive sector can apply for that facility and maybe enjoy so that you can grow. We also have another government, administer another government facility, the joint peer facility, where we are actually facilitating the supply of tractors, combine harvesters, disc harrows, planters, seed drills, boom sprays, topping tractors, and so forth to farmers. And the concept of that facility is actually to improve our Greek productivity, to increase our export capacity, also to substitute imports, and also to improve issues to do with horticulture and so forth. That facility also is extended even to those who are doing livestock. The interest rate for that facility is 10% per annum. You really need to deposit 15% of the amount which you want to borrow in local currency, but equivalent to the loan amount which you want to take. And the security of that facility normally is that equipment which would have bought, it will be pledged as security. We also do agro bills on capacity as Agribank, where we finance crops like sugarcane, soybean, tobacco, commercial maize, etc. So that's our facility. Ourselves is not a government facility, but it's for Agribank. We also participate in financial inclusion, which we really empower youth and women. We have a desk which is actually set for that, which caters for those people who are actually marginalized in a way. In that regard of financial inclusion, we also have some low-cost accounts, like 2-minute account, which we can open in 2 minutes. We also have a small and medium wing, or microfinance department, which also provides some loan funding to small farmers who might not maybe meet the criteria or pass some tests which are subjected to bigger farmers. And in that department, we also partner some NGOs in terms of empowering projects which actually are filled with some remote areas and maybe marginalized people. We currently are running on a GOT project, which we are doing in districts like Mbire. We are also doing some projects with maybe Save the Children. We're doing a lot of other projects with other NGOs. In terms of some of our other products which we are failing, the unique product, we are also participating in the new curriculum, educational new curriculum, especially in issues to do with agriculture, where we are financing schools which want to maybe take the practical issues when they don't have the equipment or infrastructure for the students to actually do the practicals. So we are also inviting schools to come and maybe apply for maybe tractors, so that when they teach agriculture, kids will actually know what a tractor is. If they're doing mechanization, they really know where to touch what this is. This. We also maybe give them some advances for them to really maybe do some benefiting, any livestock projects, anything which is really required in the curriculum. We can finance that. We also offer some agricultural advisory services as Agribank, where even clients or farmers are not really clear on how best they can go around their projects. We have got some experts who can actually visit their farms, going to look into their competitive advantages and that issues to do with their infrastructure, whatever is surrounding them. We also participate in terms of maybe advising clients on other maybe value chain players. When farmers left their produce and they don't know where to take them from, there's people who are actually financing in agriculture. We are all linked with a value chain system. We know who of our clients really requires what and where those things are. So that I think as AgriBank, we are also offering that service. Maybe in a nutshell, that's what we have as Hello, coordinator.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. I'll open this time for questions. Are there any questions from the audience regarding agricultural finance?
Okay, I've raised my hand. Maybe you are not recognizing me. I've raised my hand. I have a question. You spoke about productive sector funding. Can you also elaborate on that really? And what are the requirements really? Is it the same with? Well, I understand that you said it's different from the one that you do the financial inclusion. So what's the requirements and what's the difference between the financial inclusion funding and the productive sector funding that you referred to with regards to agriculture?
Okay, who you check? Can I respond to that? Madam Chair, can I respond? Hello? That's okay. The productive sector funding is mainly meant for those the businesses which are into production business. It's actually different from when I'm talking of financial inclusion, we really look into other issues which is even outside production, where we talk of maybe marketing or anyone who is actually in a business which cannot be maybe financed at higher levels. But for productive sector, we look into anyone who is doing production, and the main aim of that is really to increase our export capacity as a country, or our export level, so that we can get a lot of foreign currency and also try to substitute some issues to do with imports. So that's the productive sector, the scope of the productive sector, and it's different from the financial inclusion. Financial inclusion is actually focused on marginalized areas, those projects which cannot pass some tests for which are required, like issues to do with financials, where maybe applicants are supposed to have the financials which are interrogated maybe 3 year or something, audited financials and stuff. So the financial inclusion actually looks into those maybe small projects, SMEs and so forth, so that we really fund that. All those are actually championed by the government, but we really administer them at different levels. I don't know if you have been answered.
Yeah, thank you very much. I think it's clear.
Are there any more questions from the audience? I'm sure silence means that we don't have questions. I'd like to ask if in the audience we have Nomaliso Musasiwa. If so, can you please raise your hand? All right, it looks like she hasn't logged in. So we're gonna have a discussion. If you have any questions regarding the whole presentations which have been done, let's discuss on them.
Okay. I would like to ask Mr. Shava, where he spoke about the sorry about the background noise. I would like to ask Mr. Shava, where he spoke about the issues of their digital solutions and management. Really, can you elaborate further, maybe in terms of how exactly, maybe as a small scale farmer, could I benefit from the digital solutions that you are offering? Because sometimes I think the reason why we don't adopt such solutions, we, rather than viewing them as investments, we view them as a cost that you cannot recover, or something that you can do without. For instance, maybe I'm doing my watermelons. I would say maybe in Churum and so there, really, what exactly would I benefit from adopting your digital solutions that you have presented? Sorry.
Like I said, small scale farmers, perhaps some would view it as a cost, but to me, I think they should focus on productivity. As long as it helps to boost their productivity, I'm sure it's something they should take on. Like we say, somebody in Chirumanzu, perhaps it may be a case of a farmer who is always at the farm. Some may say, I'm always at the farm, why should I take it? But even if you're always at the farm, you may discover that the disease may develop without you knowing. But with the tool now, with the digital tool now, you are able to know even if you are at home. You may not go and do the physical scouting. Sometimes the time that we do scouting would have the damage would have been done. So I think looking at the cost implication of it may be a challenge to small scale farmers, but looking at the output, how it enables the farmer to drive their productivity up. Yes, small scale farmers can still use that, or they can use that as a group. If they're in a small area, it can also work that way. Because small scale farmers, just say small scale farmers because of the size of land that they do, they do. But bring up the numbers of them, they are really a lot and they could contribute a lot to the economy. So as for them to consider themselves small and being able not to adopt this technology, they will be lagging behind in terms of development. But it can also be used by these, just add on, by the banks. Let's say banks give you a credit facility. They have 100 hectares of maize. Let's say been given a credit facility by Agribank. Agribank may also be, it's an interested part. They may also need to know the challenges they face, and they can also use it to monitor the fields. The same like the small scale farmers, if they get credit facility from Agribank, let's say that doing the watermelon in Chimanzu, Agribank also wants to monitor the progress. They can also use that same system and alert them, the farmers, on their crops.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Are there any more questions in the crowd?
Through you, Chair, I maybe on that one, I wanted to know this technology thing, if it has been tried and tested, also the durability of an investment in terms of when exactly do you, if you buy or have it, how long does it take for you to really require to invest in the same regard in terms of if there are any gadgets being used or so forth. I also wanted to know issues to do with the infrastructural support of innovation. We know challenges with our technological infrastructure in the country. How efficient is that? Is it really efficient anyway in Zimbabwe? Are there areas where you say it best works in areas like these, issues to do with networks and stuff.
Yes, with the field focus, it's efficient everywhere because it uses satellite imagery. For the farmer to be able to access the information, they have to have, of course, the mobile data to do that. But as for us giving you the information, as for the tool to give you the information, it will give you the real-time information of what is on the farm, including the weather data, certain conditions, because it's being done in the space. Perhaps if it was done using our network, us sending information using the local network, we could have that challenge of some farmers failing to access information. But information being taken by the remote sensing technology and also the satellite imagery, farmers are able to get the information once they've got the data to get the updates.
Maybe also, okay, you can go on. Sorry, Mr. Masucha, you can go on.
No, I was acknowledging his answer. Thank you.
Okay. Maybe Mr. Shawa, also as a benefit that you can add to your technology. I'm forgetting the name of the first presenter who told us about soil science. I think wouldn't it be better also you integrate? For instance, I drive to Harare, maybe from Gutu to leave my samples really. Then you say it takes 4 days to get your result. Wouldn't it be better that also on your technology I can access my results from their laboratories via technology? And I think with that we see benefits, more and more benefits on your technology, because as a farmer maybe you might realize that there is no need for you to stay in Harare for 4 days. Probably I don't have anywhere to stay, or I'll have to book a loan. So I leave my soil samples, and maybe through your technology, then I know that my results can be conveyed to me. It's just a suggestion.
Yes, agreed. I think this one is a new digital tool in Zimbabwe. For it to work efficiently, what I'm saying, we are going to integrate ourselves with other service providers like the ZFCs, all those who do the soil testing. And my brother has been talking about soil pH and testing. Perhaps that's the way to go for us to give the farmer a very good product.
We have another question from the audience, which is saying, what initiatives are being done to convince youths to take up farming, and in that case, smart farming?
So the question is directed to the audience, or is directed to someone specific?
It's directed to the presenters.
Okay.
Like in our case, we always go around, identify some youth who are into farming. Then we try to make sure that we help in terms of agronomic advice, and also some advice on how to adopt these digital tools. And I think it's one way that we are doing that. We can also rope in farmers into farming. Of course, so many youth are now in farming right now, but I think the challenge now is for them to upgrade into this digital farming business.
If I can also aid to you, Chair, I would say that the other thing I think the like is what Mr. Masocha was asking about, the infrastructure that support. You realize that our in terms of this IT infrastructure in our country, it's skewed towards large cities. That's where you get these best services like connections to the cloud and everything. Now, what really affects maybe in case of smart farming is that where you do farming, you don't have this infrastructure really, because if for instance if you stay in Budiri or Westgate, that's where you have the best internet connection. But if you're in Churuma, and network sometimes really it's even an issue. So I think the first thing that we can do is to first bridge the digital divide that is there between rural areas and urban areas, really, for digital farming to be successful. Because I remember there was last time that I was checking, I also wanted to try and bring internet to our area, and the only internet that was there was a satellite. Satellite, those satellite. I can't remember which service provider that provides that satellite internet. It was really expensive, and you can't even imagine as a farmer that you want internet at your farm, and the amount that you are being told maybe it's like $400 per month to pay for satellite farming. So the issue is also about the digital divide that is between the two. That really needs to be first addressed. Then we can upscale digital farming. Not that people doesn't have brilliant ideas.
Thank you so much. Mr. Masoja, if you could also give us your view on what initiatives are being done to convince the youths to take up farming, and in the case of smart farming.
Okay, maybe on that one, we as the Agricultural Bank, sorry for that. Yeah, we really encourage what we call value chain issues, where, because look, issues which affect farming mostly are the issues to do with the off-takers, the market issues. When someone would have really labored for 3 or so months trying to produce something, come the market in time, you see the prices are not really impressing and so forth. So we are really doing the value chain where we have the input suppliers as our clients. We also link with those who support the processing issues, and then we link also with the off-takers, so that if we have maybe the connection of A to Z of the process, it means at all levels, all things will be, no one would really suffer there, because we have to know that the inputs are there. Our young farmers are not going to face challenges in terms of securing the inputs, because we'll be financing those who produce inputs and so forth. We also do the mechanization, where we really maybe loan out some tractors to groups and so forth, so that the land tillage and stuff is done without any challenges. We also finance issues to do with drip irrigation and all sorts of irrigation, so that the water and the challenges won't be fall on the crops. We also finance the off-takers, so that after the youth have actually produced, they've got somewhere to take their crops. So that's the motivation which we are giving as Agribank to young farmers, so that they can see light in farming as a business. Because look, now people are really being discouraged to do that because of some maybe bottlenecks which they face in the value chain system.
Thank you so much. Another question we have is, how best can we as JCI young people come in to assist on bridging the gap or divide? Do you have any suggestions on steps we can follow to close off this gap?
My thinking is that as maybe JCI, you can maybe invest in terms of outreach programs where you really bring together all the participants in the value chain, each maybe participant actually sharing what they have maybe to offer to farmers and so forth. So that knowledge gap is really close. The people will know if we have this as our competitive advantage in our area, it's valuable because there is someone who is maybe located there who needs this thing. But we've got a lot of things which maybe in some areas and the demand is in another area, but because of the knowledge gap, those people cannot link some of those things like maybe rural fruits and so forth. I have got a red market, maybe export market there, but because of the knowledge gap. So I think if you can take the initiative of investing in issues to do with outreach programs, where you really link and coordinate all the players in the value chain, the farming value chain, I think that will be pay some dividends in this regard. That's my thinking.
Thank you so much.
Just to add on, I think some young farmers are feeling to take up this digital farming. Why? Because they've never seen it being done by any other young farmer elsewhere. So like what my brother was saying, to get an outreach program, let's say you identify a young farmer who is into smart farming, then you organize a very big field day where other young farmers are going to see what's happening, how productivity is being achieved at the farm through the use of smart farming. Because there are some doubting Thomases out there who say, if I've never seen it happening somewhere, I cannot do it. So I think that will go a long way to convince young farmers to adopt smart farming.
Can I also add one, Chair?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I would like to, I like the proposal of Mr. Masocha really of coordinating and integrating the value chain actors really, because I think that's the only way you can also identify what challenges are they facing really, because I think if we tend to focus also only on farmers in this digital evolution, we might miss the mark, because we realize that at other links of the chain, digital solutions are not being adopted. So I think the way his proposal is the way to go really, because I've also seen it somewhere, and I've also seen it, especially if you check in South African citrus industry, the way how they use digital solutions up to consumers, which are even in China, such that they can even tell you that a farmer, for instance, let me just give an example, that farmer in Chirumanzu will have to harvest his or her melons, such that in 3 months' time they will be eaten in let me just use any province in China. So I think when you have when you identify the value chain actors and you identify the challenges that they are facing with regards to digital solutions, then you can come up with an integrated approach that can also help you to make sure that the digital divide between different actors within the chain is eliminated.
Thank you so much for your addition. Do we still have any more questions from the audience?
Okay, maybe Mr. Shaw, I wanted to know the uptake rate of your innovations, because to me that's an important thing, where even decision makers in terms of those who are maybe signing contracts and so forth, they can do some desktop assessment of projects while they're in their offices. It sounds maybe too sweet for me. What's the uptake of the technology?
Like I was saying, field focus is quite a new technology here in Zimbabwe, but in Zambia, Mozambique, yes, uptake is very, very good, especially among the commercial farmers and also the banks who also need to monitor the crop which they are jointly working with the outgrowers.
Mr. Richmore, if you have anything to add, the floor is open.
Oh, I have nothing now. I have nothing for the moment.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, I just wanted to just contribute to Mr. Masocha from Agribank. We have found out that most young farmers, they are getting loans from banks. I don't know the proposals or the criteria that they get to they bring to the bank to get the loans, but most of them they failed to repay because of poor harvests. And our own investigations have shown that most of these loans are given without a proper soil analysis and proper recommendations of fertilizers and everything that will be required from agronomists. I think it's something that you need to take up. From our side, we have tried to approach Agribank, but the uptake was not what we expected, because most of the so-called white banks like Barclays and Stanchart, that's what they do. The white farmers, they come, they get their soil tested, they present the soil results together with these recommendations from agronomists, which will then calculate the output that will be expected from there, and then they get which is equivalent to what they would be requiring, and also there will be capacity to repay because of the recommendations and sales that would have been shown to the bank. So I think it's something that we might need to talk outside this meeting.
When borrowed say, I think it's an interesting thing also which we have to consider as a bank and see how best we can go around that. Maybe issues to do with the economic factor where maybe the cost of having those things is also be better. Look, if someone is really looking for 10,000 bond and so forth, then the cost of having that test done maybe goes to maybe to 1/3 or so of the amount which he wants to borrow. Yeah, those are some limitations, but look, I'm saying it's an interesting, it's very important for us also to consider, or maybe areas where we can have some field losses or causes of field losses and try to address them. It's an important point, and maybe we can start maybe outside this and see how best we can go around it.
All right. That's okay. Thank you very much for the great presentations from all our presenters. It has been a great session. We got to learn about soil analysis, about agri-finance, and seeds and production. We look forward to work with all the stakeholders in mobilizing smallholder and young farmers to increase their exposure and knowledge on smart farming. Thank you so much. It's been a great session, and hope you have a great day.
Thank you.